Welcome to the lounge where the stories climb high. Dr. Rhonda's in the groove where the pages touch the sky. Sip on inspiration, let the moments unwind. Every voice a horizon, new tales intertwine. From pen to passion where the art feels divine. Authors vibing together, creativity and time. So pull up your chair, let your spirit align. Horizons Author Lounge where words come alive. Welcome to Horizons Author Lounge.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson, and I am back. I am back with a new episode of the Horizons Author Lounge, and I am back in the DMV from an amazing 10th anniversary of the Black History Month Literary Weekend. If you missed it, well, you just missed it because it was one for the record books. I mean, this was the way that you celebrate a milestone event. I mean, we had meet and greets, we had workshops, we had a second line band. We had so much. It was just, I mean, I almost shed a tear. Your girl almost shed a tear. I got choked up a little bit, but I'm telling you, it was just a beautiful event. I even got a proclamation to the city. The city of New Orleans gave me a proclamation. It was presented by one of our guest speakers, Councilman Eugene Green, and I was just overcome. It was just beautiful. So I just want to thank every person who supported, whether you attended the event, whether you donated a door prize, whether you were a sponsor or a partner. Special thank you to One Book, One New Orleans for your partnership. Special thank you to Alpha Gamma Zeta, chapter of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, my sorors, my former chapter in New Orleans. Thank you so much for your partnership. I could not have done this without either one of you. So thank you. We had an amazing turnout, and it was all because of you. So just thank you. And I want to also give a special thank you to my family, because you all turned out. I mean, y'all just turned out, and you were at more than one event. You were at many events. So thank you for that. And then the young lady who I'm about to bring on, she was also one of our guest speakers. And she has become like a sister to me. And I actually met her on this old Book of Faces. We did not know each other before I moved to Belgium. We just kind of knew each other on social media, and I was following what she was doing. And some kind of way we just kind of linked up. And I think she mentioned something about going to Belgium, and I said that I was moving to Belgium. And then she reached out and said that she was going to be passing through Belgium. And I was like, oh, I would love to meet you. And some kind of way she came to my home, and we just been sisters ever since. And I actually had her come to my home, and we had a great time. And I wound up hosting a networking event. And she brought more people by, and I met some amazing people, some Belgians, some Afro Belgians. I think we might want to call them. She's going to tell you all about it. But ever since then, we've just become really good friends, and I'm just in awe of the work that she's done. And you're going to see why in a minute. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring her on so she can tell her story. So I just want you to help me to welcome Dr. Lisa Aubrey. Where is Dr. Lisa Aubrey?
I'm here. I'm here.
Hey,
hello, Sister Dr. Rhonda. Hello, how are you?
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It was an amazing event in New Orleans. Congratulations. The literary weekend was incredible and one for the books. You
Absolutely.
did a fantastic job. So,
Thank you so much.
congratulations to you and your team.
Thank you so much. I will tell you, I could not have done it without my team. And I have never been late for my event before. This was the first time that I was late and I was not stressed out. And the reason why I was not stressed out was because my team had everything under control. When I got there, the band was performing, the
And
hostess
they were
was doing the
fantastic. They were
yes,
fantastic.
the food was already in place. All I had to do was come in and hug everybody.
Yes, 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 yes.
I'm like, this is the
We're
way it should.
looking forward to the next one.
Yes, absolutely. And I think it's going to be in the DMV, even though some people said they appreciated not being in the cold. So they, I
Yes, yes,
want to
yes,
have it in New Orleans again.
yes, yes, yes. And we're going to miss it if it's not in New Orleans.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. This is going to be a hard decision. We got to think about this.
Yeah. Well, it's an international event. So people really can come from everywhere. And we're going to support you wherever you are. I'll go back to Brussels for that.
Mark said that this is the first time that I didn't crash out. What? I
Mhm.
didn't crash
That
out.
was fantastic. And the authors there were wonderful. Your family was wonderful. The team was wonderful. The invitees, everyone was engaged and in uh, just a wonderful mood. It was a good vibe. And the promotion of the youth, I mean, that was absolutely fantastic. And the youth who
Yes.
won the essay, contest, to see the work that they put in, and the quality of work that they did.
Yes,
So
and it's funny you should mention that because tonight after the show, I am going to be releasing the inaugural edition of Meet the World magazine, and one of the articles in the magazine will be Jarrell Singleton, who was our 8th grade winner of the essay contest. His essay will be included in the magazine. So
fantastic.
yes, you have got to read this young man's essay. He really put the work in with doing the research for this essay. So I cannot wait for people to read
Yes.
it.
Right, right. And this is what we need to do with our youth. They are incredibly talented. They just need stimulation to think about these issues that are so critical, for our survival.
Yes.
So he really pulled it together, and the grasp of history, and the confidence about moving forward. That was really impressive. And
Yes.
I credit you all for doing a lot of this work, because the last 10 years in New Orleans, you've been doing this work. And, everybody looks forward to it. We want the literary, weekend to come back. We want Dr. Rhonda to come back and do this work and encourage all of us.
Absolutely. I gotta say, this is not the first time that you've participated in this event. You actually participated in 2019.
Yes.
And people are always surprised because you're from Louisiana, and
Yes.
people were saying, "Who is the African lady?" And I'm like, "What African
Yes.
lady?" And like the doctor, the African doctor, that lady's from Louisiana.
Yes. Well, the point is being made, because we are people of African descent.
Yes,
We
but
have a close relationship to Africa. But I do get the question. It says, yes, okay, you live in Louisiana now, but where in Africa were you born?
yes,
And I was born in Louisiana, but our roots in Africa are deep. And I've been blessed to spend half of my life on the continent of Africa. And, by writing, that is one of my ways to share my experiences, because the majority of us don't have the opportunity to have that much immersed time in Africa. So I've been to so many African countries, lived in several, taught as a Fulbright scholar in several countries, in Ghana, in Cameroon. I was in Kenya as a Fulbright. And when I could figure out that, okay, I can be a professor and I can have immersed time in Africa, I can do this research on topics that I'm so passionate about.
Yes.
I said, that's the ideal life. I mean, those are really lots of blessings. So I'm so happy to be invited by you to share those blessings. It's not only sharing my research, but it's also sharing those blessings and being able to make those connections between diaspora and Africa. And I also do pilgrimages, as you know.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I was just about to say that. I love how you have immersed yourself so much in the culture. And when did this spark first occur? Is this something that you just grew up falling in love with, or is this a spark that came later in life?
Well, I'm a proud graduate of Southern University, Baton Rouge, where I really got down to Afrocentric immersion. I actually made my first trip to Africa when I was 19. I was a third-year student at Southern. There is an organization called Operation Crossroads Africa, which is really interesting because it was started by an African American man, Dr. James Robinson. It predates the Peace Corps. And he wanted Americans of all hues to have immersed time in Africa. So he started a cultural exchange program. And it was so successful, I think, as measured by what the participants from the U.S. Felt that they got out of that immersion. And it started off about in U.S. summers for 6 weeks in an African country. And it worked so wonderfully that President John F. Kennedy went to Reverend Robinson and say, I would like to do something like this. So can you walk me through this? Can you help me think through this? So that's how the Peace Corps came about. That's how the Peace Corps came about. So Operation Crossroads Africa, it exists. I was a Fulbrighter. I was a crossroader to Lesotho in 1982 in Maseru. So I've been going to Africa since 1982. And my sister followed me. She went some years later. There's so many crossroaders across the U.S. And like all organizations, like most organizations, the COVID period really created some operational challenges. But Operation Crossroads Africa, for a summer experience of cultural immersion in Africa, is something you might want to check out.
Yeah, I know. I remember a friend of mine. She was packing her bags. She was hurrying up and getting her stuff together because she was going on this trip to Africa. And then that year that you came to visit me in Belgium, you were showing me pictures of a roots and reconnection trip that you had done to Ghana. And then I'm looking for the pictures, and sure enough, there was my friend in the pictures. And I was like, Tersha.
Yes.
Yes. I did not realize she was that you were the trip that she was going on.
Yes.
And,
Trisha Hamilton, Dr.
Yes,
Hamilton, yes.
Trisha Hamilton.
Yes. She came with me to Cameroon.
It was Cameroon that she had gone to. Okay.
Wonderful pilgrimage. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Actually, I saw her name on the list of authors during the program last weekend. And I said, wow, I didn't know they knew each other. But we were all so busy that I didn't get to talk with you about it. Yeah. But she was on the pilgrimage. Yes. And I hope that some of us listening in tonight will also join the pilgrimage. Last year, we went to Southern Africa, and we went to 4 countries. We started in Zimbabwe, we started in Zambia, went to Botswana, then Zimbabwe, and then South Africa. So that was amazing. And this year, 2026, we are going to Kenya. So the pilgrimage starts on July 19th. So you will have 14 days, 13 nights. The closing of the pilgrimage is the 1st of August. This will be our first pilgrimage to Kenya. But not my first time, because I worked at the University of Nairobi. I did my dissertation research. Actually, my first single authored book is The Politics of Development Cooperation. And it looks at the largest women's organization in Kenya. And I've lived in Kenya for over 3 years. I was recently back in December. It's a place I call home. So Karibuni, Kenya, that means welcome to Kenya. So we still have some spots open.
Okay, I was just about to say, how can a person sign up for this trip?
Okay, you just send me an email at Roots Reconnection. I was trying to see if there's a place to write it. rootsreconnection@gmail.com.
Okay.
rootsreconnection@gmail.com.
Okay. So we can put that in the chat. Okay. All right. So Daniel's already putting that in the chat. He is on it.
Okay, cool. I was about to write in the chat. Yeah, so we have a few spaces left. So yes, join us. This is the Roots and Reconnection Global African Pilgrimage to Kenya.
So now tell us, what are people going to do on this trip? Because this isn't just a regular sightseeing trip.
No, this is not the regular tourist trip, although we have as much fun as tourists. My organization, Roots and Reconnection, one of the reasons that I started it is because so many people in the African diaspora, people like me, who have not had the chance to have as much time in Africa. So many of us and our predecessors, our parents, our grandparents, this idea of Africa as home, Africa as an origin, has been abstract idea, alluring idea. One day I would like to see Africa. And I hear my uncles, my aunts talking about this, but also saying, but look at my situation, I'll never really have a chance to go. And some people have also said to me, I would like to go, but I don't really know anyone there. Those comments have now changed a bit since, social media. So I have had so many blessings on the continent that I said, these blessings that we get from the Almighty, these blessings that we get, these blessings are to share. They're not for us just to keep for ourselves.
Yeah.
So I created an organization. And says if you are interested in knowing about Africa, if you are interested in understanding the connections between the diaspora and Africa, if you are interested in the cultural similarities that we have, then come. If you want to know where jambalaya comes from, then come, because it's jollof rice. If you want to know why we love okra, cook okra the way that we do, then come to Africa and find out. And come and see the people on the continent who look like you, who look like your uncle, who look like your aunt, who are taken aback when they see you and they say, oh, you must be Miss So-and-so's granddaughter. And then they start speaking to you in their language. But because we have been denied to know our African ancestry, our culture, we don't know the language. And then we say, but I don't really know the language. But because you belong, and because they see it, they feel it, they know it, they say, just because you've been away, don't come back here acting like you have forgotten the language. Imagine, this happened to me on a bus in Kenya. And I said, no, I was really born in Louisiana. But that is the best welcome. And also what we do so much. So I'm just giving a snapshot. The vestiges of slavery in many places are still there. They may not be talked about because, as people tell me, the pain is just too much. Like Bimbia, the site of my research that was hidden in forests until I started asking questions in 2010. So we're going to talk about the transoceanic slaveries, the transatlantic, the trans-Saharan, that removed our ancestors from Africa and brought our ancestors to places where they toiled so much that some of the documents that I unearthed, that I read, they say, well, this enslaved woman was worked to death. Cause of death, worked to death. Also with our children. So this is a piece, it gives us a chance to also encounter that history, come, face to face with that history. And and not only that side of the history, but the resistance, because our ancestors of people in Africa didn't go easily into slavery. They fought, they died. Yeah. And we have a responsibility, not only in the diaspora, but in Africa as well, to show them every day that their suffering, their deaths were not in vain.
Now we have a video that I'd like to show, and this is one of your trips. I'm not sure which country it is, and you could probably show us, but I'm gonna just show about a minute of the video because the video is a little bit long. But this is just a little bit of an experience that people who go on your trips will get. So I'll just show a little bit of it, and then we can talk a little bit about it afterwards.
Right. And also experiences differ depending on the country, because all countries are unique.
Yes.
Okay.
If it wants to show. There it is.
In January, you saw the 5 months ago, this place was clean. We had a population of over 300 personalities here with chairs and everything. But 5 months after, you see where we are. And if the council didn't try to do this, we didn't have even seen anything. All of these vestiges are lost in the forest. They are lost in the forest because no funding to keep this place up to date. So this area here, you see, this was like the workshop where they had all their food and whatever they were doing. And here, this is where they tied the slaves. This is where the slaves were tied. We'll go down again. I will show you where the slave master was living, the English slave master. This can.
I'm giving you the honor and the responsibility of bringing some of our sisters and brothers from the diaspora back to share this experience, this incredible experience that I've had with some of you that are here today. Because of time and because they're waiting for us, we would like to say thank you to our brother Mema Miambo, to the Limbe City Council, Limbe 3, yes, Limbe 3 City Council, to the chief that was here, and to everybody else who made this possible, and to Mr. Angela Kwan, who worked very hard on this, but for reasons we all know could not be with us today. Just briefly, to answer some questions that some of the diasporan members had. This began as a research for the first African reconnection program that was sponsored by a Cameroonian group. I was the researcher for the group. Asked about slave trade sites in Cameroon, they said that they didn't know of any. With the assistance of 7 undergraduate students at Arizona State University who worked diligently with me day and night from the announcement of the program in September to December 26, when the trip began, we were able to locate 135 slave ships that left the Cameroon territory. That is not the total, but that is what we had come up with at the time from the documents there. Just before we left the U.S., we located 2 other of the slave ships, the 137 so far. We got the national origin. The English were the main slave traders that we've been able to identify so far, but the Portuguese and the Spanish and others, including the U.S., was involved as well. These are government documents, but there are also other private documents that exist, and there are also archives in other countries and other languages. So I'm staying on until August to continue the work. And the students, one is here, my daughter, Ndome Kari, and we continue to work on this. So far, what we've been able to locate, most of the slave ships left from Vuri in Douala, as the we've seen videos, and we've seen a letter from him as well. So far, we know that 13 of what we have located and identified left from Bimbia, left from this place. This is
I can watch that all day.
I'm
That
happy.
is amazing. The work that you were able to accomplish. And, you know, that takes me right into your work with discovering Bimbia, if you can talk a bit about that.
Thank you, Dr. Rhonda. Yes, and this is a video that was shot on the site. The site is called Bimbia. And as I mentioned, I started asking about sites of transatlantic slavery, transoceanic slavery, because it can be either transatlantic or trans-Saharan, and both. And Cameroon, as it turns out, is a country that was pillaged by both transatlantic and trans-Saharan slaveries. Imagine. What took me to this research, and I talked a little bit about this on Saturday at Dr. Rhonda's event, is that Many of us today are taking DNA tests to trace our roots. And we are so thrilled about this new technology because it helps us get beyond what is called the slavery wall. In trying to trace our genealogy as people of African descent, and in this particular case in the US, we know that for our ancestors that were taken from Africa, they were considered commodities. So there were no records that were kept that would tell us about their lives. So if we begin the research, if Dr. Lawson begins the research, and if her situation is like most African Americans, she'll get to around 1860, and she can't go back any further. So you hear this often. I get so frustrated. I get these records and then I can't go back any further. And you're lucky if you can go back that far. Many people are lucky if they can. So in the 1990s, we see this technology that is developed that allows us to go back to our oldest maternal ancestor. That's the mtDNA test. And it allows us to go back to our oldest paternal ancestor. That's the Y chromosome test. And then there's also the autosomal test, which tells us a bit about our maternal side and our paternal side. So when we began taking the test, this test was first used to test the bones at the African burial ground in New York City. Remember when the bones were found, that Wall Street was trying to expand because banks always want to create more banks, make more money. And the crews that were working the grounds to build the foundations for these new banks, they came upon cemeteries. So what did they do? They dropped the shovels. They're like, no. In our cultures, these are sacred grounds. So geneticists, Dr. Rick Kittles, Dr. Michael Blakey, Dr. Fatima Jackson, all people of African descent, and others began to try to come up with a technology that would allow us to know something about the lives of those that were buried. It was initially called the Negro Burial Ground. So fast forward, we could do a whole show on that. Fast forward, many people of African descent said, if you can do this on the bones that have been there for so long, in our lifetimes, we would like to know where we come from in Africa. Can you make that test available for us? So to connect this to Bimbia, many people started taking the DNA test, and so many results were coming back Cameroon.
Wow.
Yeah, not in the numbers they were coming back for Ghana, although, of course, there were many, not for Senegal in the way that we thought, not as many as Cameroon, Sierra Leone, not as many as Cameroon, Angola, not as many as Cameroon. So for those of us who teach this, for those of us who are interested because we are of African descent, and for those of us who are interested as scholars, we said, but this is really a puzzle, because what the best scholars have told us is that Cameroon was not a significant victim in transatlantic slavery. Yes. So I write about this in my book. So really this challenge, so what I began to do, and it wasn't my objective at the time, but what essentially I was doing, I was challenging the conventional wisdom of what the best of scholars thought they knew about transatlantic slavery and who was taken from the continent. And to fast forward, now as it turns out, and there was an article that was published today by Cameroon News Agency, Bimbia has now become, because of my research, it has qualified on UNESCO's tentative list of World Heritage Sites.
Wow. And that's
Yes.
because of your work. How does that feel
Because of
when you think about your discovery and because of your work that something of this magnitude has happened? Do you ever just sit down and be like, wow,
Yes.
I did this?
Yes. I sit down, I look around, I said, okay, and we have so much more to do. Because I began to ask the question, I said, now, is the test off? What's going on? Let's find out about this test, because how can it be that so many people are coming back Cameroon? So a woman who I write about in the book, her mother said, I don't know about this. I'm not sure. So both of them took the test because mother and daughter, you have the same mitochondrial DNA. Your results should come out the same.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't disclose that they were mother and daughter. Their results came out the same. So other people also did this to check the accuracy of the test, because as scholars, as researchers, as people who just want the correct results, this is something that we have to do. So I began looking. So that's when the question came up. I started asking the people that I was working with, the art jammers at the time. I said, so where are the sites? Where are the memorial sites in Cameroon? And they said, we don't have that. There are no sites like this. And really, if you think that transatlantic or transoceanic slavery didn't happen in your country, what's the point of trying to have a memorial? Because if it wasn't something that happened, if it wasn't significant, then, you know, we don't spend our time doing this. And then when I began to dig, then we began finding ships. We began finding ships. I began correlating those findings with the DNA findings that Dr. Kittles and Blakey and Jackson were doing. And it was a time of putting it together. And I had an incredible research team, volunteer, mostly students of African descent, and other students who are also interested and wanted to understand this puzzle as well. So initially we started with one ship, two ships. Then, as I mentioned in the video, it was 135 when I was preparing to go to Cameroon to make the presentation to the government and to communities. Then we found two more, 137. And by 2020, we had unearthed 166, because the work continues. It's
and people weren't actually open to you doing this work at first, were they?
No, absolutely not. And now, and I'm going to talk about this, but now in my last book, Bimbia Dévoilée, I was able to report we had now found and validated 221 enslavement ships. And also by that time, and I talked a bit about that on Dr. Rhonda's, at Dr. Rhonda's event on Saturday. Actually, I focused on this. Some enslaved from the Cameroon territory were brought to Louisiana. So in Louisiana, there is evidence that we have validated. There are communities in which I've interviewed people. So we have been able to trace Cameroon enslaved being brought to Louisiana. Some of them we have names, and for one of the families, I've been able to recover their story,
Wow.
their history. Yes, and as you asked, I first went to, I'm shaking up the conventional wisdom. So now we have to think. So what I was taught in school is actually not 100% accurate. I've got to rethink this now. Then I'm in a country where they haven't really talked about transatlantic slavery because the conventional wisdom is that it didn't happen there. Oh, and I talk to people, they say, oh, that happened in Ghana. That happened in Sierra Leone. I mean, you should go there. That happened,
They don't
that
think
happened
about it
in
Cameroon.
Angola. Sorry?
To say they don't think about it happening in Cameroon.
No, actually, some Cameroonians who I met and got to really share time with, they were because of their interest in the history of slavery, they were going to the forts in Ghana. They were going to Senegal. They were going to other countries to see these memorial sites, not knowing that they're the biggest site of transatlantic slavery, the biggest site in all of Africa, 56 hectares, and I believe it's bigger than that. 56 hectares is in their own backyard.
Wow.
So that really flips the script of what we think we know, and it helps to make sense the data that African ancestry, and I really would like to recommend African ancestry in Washington, D.C. They are the best testing company for people of African descent. They've got a database of over 30,000 samples to which they can match diaspora DNA and African DNA. That's your best chance at getting the most precise results. So yes, and that Rhonda, that denial is still there in some places, in some corners. As a matter of fact, when I went and I made the first presentation to my colleagues, some of whom I've gotten to know very well because I've gotten a chance to teach in Cameroon at the university for some years now. Their first thought was, who is this girl coming here telling us that there's a site? I mean, who is she telling us this? So they did their own research, and I applaud them for that, to validate what I was saying. They said, but who is she? She's from Louisiana, and most of my colleagues are men. And I said, who is this small girl coming here telling us that if this existed in our country, as smart as we are, and they're brilliant, they said we would know.
Right.
So now it was a lot of moving parts at the same time, but I was determined. It's more than a passion. It's an assignment for me, because we are global Africa. We are global Africa. Just like West Africa is different from East Africa different from Southern Africa. We are diaspora Africa. We are diaspora Africa.
And there's still
So
so much for us to learn, especially here in the United States.
yes, there is absolutely so much, and this also destroys a lot of the lies that we hear about continent of Africa and concern for diaspora, and also some of the miseducation that I was about to say that we get here, but that we get worldwide. I mean, we've heard people say, "Oh, I didn't leave anything in Africa. I'm not connected to
Yeah, I
Africa."
heard that too.
Yes, we hear that. We hear that a lot. But there are so many similarities. And what also really touched me is it still touches me, because I had people in Cameroon pull me aside and say, our aunt, generations ago, they'll tell you how many, she went to visit a neighbor and never came back. She was captured. She was taken. We have an uncle. Yes. And then they say, so every 5 years or every 10 years, the family gets together and we have a ritual to let her know. We have prayers to let her know that we remember her. So please, if you can just look for our family, maybe they ended up in the US. Tell them we want them back. Tell them we want them back. So yes, people have given me their names. They've given me their histories. They've given me their stories. And so this is the reconnection work. Hence the name of my organization, Roots and Reconnection.
Yes.
And I'm sure we've heard a lot about the celebrities, which is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, a lot of people are going back? And I remember during your visit to Belgium, you were actually on your way to Africa for the trip there, and there was a young man that we met. I'm saying young, but he was he was older man, but he went there and he actually changed his name.
Yes.
He did the ancestry. He wound up meeting relatives.
Yes.
And he wound up changing his name.
Yes, absolutely. And we find this often. One of the things that can happen on a pilgrimage, if those on the pilgrimage desire to have it, if there is a connection with a community, we have naming ceremonies. For instance, one of my names is Yen. That is in the Tikar community in Fumban. That is in the northwest of Cameroon. Yen is also a name with a heavy significance because she is the mother of all of the Bamoun people. So the Sultan, who is also the title that is used, is Fon, F-O-N. That equates to king. So when he gave me the name, he says, so you are my mother. Right? So they observe the personality, they observe the characteristics, they work on giving you a name that is that they feel is a deserving name. And I'm blessed because I've gotten so many names in different parts of Africa. Yeah. In Douala, I talked about the Vuri River. which is one of also a site of embarkation of European enslavement ships who forcibly captured, and uh, uh, took Cameroonians away. And it's on the water. So at a naming ceremony, actually Tertia was at the Fumban. So Tertia, who we talked about earlier, she also got a name from the king.
Oh, wow.
Of the Bamoon. Oh, yeah, it's wonderful. Actually, there's a video of it. So in Douala, which is on the water, I got the name Jengu. Jengu means the woman who reads the waters. The woman who reads the waters. So I could see the enslavement ships. So those are some of the things that we do on pilgrimages. In addition to having some time on the beach, to having some incredible food, to enjoying some of the great music, to participate in the cultural activities. But it's not the traditional tool. It really has very strong components of roots and reconnection.
Well, I've got to say that I appreciate the work that you've done, and I know a lot of the Africans that you come into contact with have appreciated the work that you've done.
Yes,
and you've gotten a lot of recognition for the work that you've done. Oh, look, Melvin's on.
Hi, Melvin.
He was the one I met that changed his name.
Yeah, Melvin's name is Mwaki. Mwaki. Yes. And Melvin has been on more than one pilgrimage with me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes. And I'm hoping that he's also going to come to Kenya. But Melvin is also doing incredible work. And they are raising consciousness about breast cancer. So they're doing absolutely incredible work as well. So Melvin, come to Kenya. Karibu.
Yes. Now I wonder if you remember this wonderful couple.
Oh, yes. So Dr. Rhonda and I were in Maryland. This is one of the recognitions that I have gotten. I cherish this. So this is from the Miss Africa pageant, Lady Kate D. Jerome. You can find her on Facebook, who is actually a Bimbia girl. She's from Limbe, and she's been doing pageants that not only focus on beauty, because we know that women of African descent all over the world are beautiful, global African beauties. She also focuses on leadership. She also focuses on community development. As a matter of fact, she just started a water project in the Limbe area. And Dr. Rhonda and her mother were gracious enough to come with me, to accompany me to Lady Kate's event, where I was crowned a queen mother. And that means that my work is appreciated, is recognized, is encouraged. I'm so thankful for that. And it also means that now I also have a responsibility to keep moving us forward. And I'm going to work with Lady Kate and many young women that she works with, even in the Miss universe pageant. And it's so appropriate to talk about this tonight because this is Black history and women's history.
Yeah.
Dr. Rhonda is sitting in it as a queen, and so is Lady Kate and so many others. The Cameroon government has also recognized my work, and they awarded me the highest medal of recognition that one can receive in Cameroon for the work that I have done. And I am so humbled, so honored, and so humbled. And I ask for the continued blessings, the strength to continue to do this work and to continue to be surrounded by people like Dr. Rhonda, by Mwaki, by Lady Kate, by so many others, and to have many avenues to share this information, to share this history that has been kept from us.
Amen. Amen. You know, all of the recognitions are wonderful, but it's nothing like being recognized by home.
Yes. That was so wonderful.
Yes.
The proclamation from the New Orleans City Council
Yes.
for the literacy, the education, the consciousness that we provide, and I really credit the teachers that I had. I mean, from primary school, I started school before integration in the U.S. So I imagine many of us, some of us on the call may have, we had some incredible teachers that followed us, made sure we got our work done.
Yes.
And through high school, you know, those folks looking out for us, guiding us, directing us. And then Southern University really gave me the grounding, And then when I was in high school, too, I was asking questions about things I didn't understand. That's my name. Aubrey is how we pronounce it because my first language is Creole. So you see white folks with the same name, they live in the same area. The Black folks with the same name, yes, they're your cousins. So I used to ask my parents, I said, but that white family, they have the same name, but they're not our cousins. So how do we all have the same names? So my mom would say, oh, go sit down. You ask too many questions. So we know how that is, but they didn't have the language. And I understand they didn't have the language. And how do you tell a 12-year-old that most of us carry the names of our enslavers?
Yes.
Your name is, in the U.S. context, not everywhere, but in the U.S. context, you are property of Aubrey, property of Broussard, property of Boutte. And what I didn't get to talk about on Saturday, because I have a lot to talk about, and I appreciate all the time that I have, but I also have traced the list of enslavers of the 10 Cameroonians who I've been able to find names in ethnic groups. I also worked really hard to find who enslaved them. So those are some of the questions that I asked when I was young. and I just could not get an answer. And those questions have never left me. And 50 years later, I'm getting to some answers.
Wow.
Getting to
And
some
you're
answers.
and you're finding those answers, and you're helping other people to find those answers. So if you want to find those answers, make sure that you go with Dr. Lisa on these pilgrimages back
Yes,
to Africa this year. She is taking a group to Kenya. You
yes,
can email her at rootsreconnection@gmail.com. You can
yes.
find more information about the pilgrimage on her website. If we can pull that website back up one more time, it
The
should be.
books are on the website.
It is.
I'll-
Yes, roots and reconnection square.site. And you can also find links to her books on that website as well. She has books on her discovery of Bimbia, stories about that have come out of Bimbia, um, just just a wealth of information. Um, this is true history that we're talking to right now, and I think that it's really right now with this intersection between Black History Month and Women's History Month, it is really appropriate that you are our first guest in the month of March.
Thank
So,
you.
thank you
Thank
for
you.
joining me tonight. I really appreciate you. Thank you for being my guest speaker at the Ivory and Cream Affair. And
Oh, you're
yes,
more than welcome. Is the hour over?
yes, the hour is over
Oh my
already.
goodness. I had just gotten started. I look forward to coming back. And
Well,
much of the information that we shared tonight is in the books.
yes,
Yes.
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 Well, people are interested and they're thanking me for the information. I think you're going to be getting some people hitting you up.
All right. Asante Sana. Much respect, Dr. Rhonda. Much respect.
And much respect to you. Thank you for being my friend. That was the last thing I wanted to say.
I love you.
I love you. Thank you so much. And thank all of you for joining me for another episode of the Horizons Author Lounge. I hope you had a great time tonight. Join me tomorrow for another episode of Black Authors Matter TV, and join me right back here next week for a new episode of the Horizons Author Lounge. There's so much more to come. We have some amazing authors lined up. And if you would like to be featured on the Horizons Author Lounge, just hit your girl up. Now I'm going to leave you with one last thing. Remember, your work is your work. You worked very hard to leave a legacy for your family. And so we are working hard with the Creators' Rights Movement to make sure that you are able to leave a lasting legacy for your family. So please, please, please sign the petition to change the existing copyright laws. We want to change the copyright laws so that they will be perpetual, which means that you will be able to leave a lasting legacy for your family. So if you go to the website Creators Rights Movement, you can find more information about this movement. You can also scan the QR code, and that means that when you write a book, let's say that book hits and you make lots of money on this book, and then 70 years from now somebody's going to wait that copyright out, it's going to expire, and then they're going to be able to benefit from your hard work. But if you sign the petition and we are able to change those copyright laws, that means your copyright will last forever and your family will be able to benefit from all of your hard work, and it will be able to benefit from your legacy. And that's what we are trying to do. We are trying to get those copyright laws changed. So sign the petition, be a part of the movement, and let's go ahead and make sure that your family can benefit from your blood, sweat, and tears.
Yes.
And this is whether you are an author, whether you are a film producer, whether you are an artist, whether you are a songwriter, all of this falls under those copyright laws. So sign the petition. We want you to be a part of the movement. And that's all I have for tonight, everybody. I love you guys. Thank you once again for your support, and I'll see you next week. Bye.